So it says here if you've got the red and blue flag, it's a misfit. But I thought you were a misfit.
Can I still be a hero?
Sure.
Sweet. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we're doing a preview for Misfit Heroes. This is a new Phil Walker Harding game from AEG coming to crowdfunding by the time you see this. So in Misfit Heroes, what makes this game different and unique and interesting is that you've got these cards with sleeves and there's an overlay. So the first thing you're going to do when you get this game is you're going to take all these cards and randomly sleeve them. The overlay in with the regular card back, and you're going to create a unique card. And so what we're doing is those cards will now have a new cost and all kinds of abilities. So this game is very straightforward. You are trying to score the most points, and you're going to do that by building up your tableau. You're going to have 4 cards across, 4 cards up. 16 cards will end or trigger the end of the game. So the first person to get that is going to trigger the end of the game. You're going to be acquiring these guys over here, these resources, which you can use to buy these tiles, which are just worth points. Cards in your tableau are going to be worth points. They might be worth 1 point, or they might have a modifier on there, so it might score you points based on groups of different things. All that is pretty much explained on the card. So on your turn, it's really straightforward. You can just do one of a few things. You can recruit a hero, right? So you're going to pay the cost. You're going to, if it's got 2 costs up there, you're going to total those together. You're going to pay that amount. You're going to put that guy down. There's 2 boxes on that card. The top box is sort of the trigger or cost card. And then the bottom box is what you get for playing that card. Sometimes you get 2 things for playing that card. If it's got a heart, if it's got the little trophy, that means that that upper right-hand corner, instead of a 1, it probably is going to have an X, which is a multiplier based on how you've placed your cards out. There could be things that are like, I have to give a red card, so that's a human card, from my hand to an opponent, and then I can gain those things. Oh yeah, a beast card. If it's got a blue, it's going to be a human. If it's red, it's a beast. And if it has blue and red, it is a misfit. And so those are sort of the card attributes. So I can pay money to play a card in my tableau. That's one thing I could do. I could take 1 resource. That's another thing I could do. I could take $10. It's awesome because $10 is huge. That's you need that money to be able to put those cards out in front of you. Or lastly, you can discard as many cards as you want, and you're going to draw that many cards plus 2. So even if you discard no cards, you can take 2 cards. You have a hand limit of 8. You have a resource limit of 8 of each kind of resource. There's 3 different kinds. And you have a limit of 80 money. So then once I've taken one of those actions on my turn, either played a card, took money, took a resource, or drew cards, then at the end of my turn, I can trade in either 6 of one of these kinds of resources, a green, a blue, or the gray, the mountain, and take the top available tile for scoring purposes later on at the end of the game, or 2 of each, and I could take the purple one. So, and that's pretty straightforward. They are listed on the tiles, basically what they cost. So you can see that as well. It's always 6. It's either 6 of the same or 2 of each. And you're going to just take that, obviously, that most valuable one left. There's no reason.
You could take a low one, but it's a pretty, I don't know about that strategy, Cotton.
The bold strategy. Bold strategy. And yeah, you're going to keep going until basically someone has filled up their tableau full of cards. And that's Misfit Heroes. It's very straightforward, easy to play, easy to teach. Another thing you can do also they recommend is either if it's your first game, when you're done playing, everybody take out like 4 of those overlays and mix them all up and throw them back in.
Changes the game up next
Changes the game up. And then at the beginning of future games, you can do that, or you can do it at the end of the game. But that way you're going to keep these things fresh. You're going to see some new combinations all the time, which is really cool and a fun way to do that. Bobby, give me some thoughts on Misfit Heroes.
A couple of things I would point out. Your first card you play is they're in the bottom left, and you build out from there.
Yes.
And so that has to, it does stay there. And then the other thing is that I kind of confused when the first time we played is, well, you have the blue ones are human and the red ones are beasts, and the third one are misfits. Even though it's got a blue and a red on there, it doesn't count as both. It is a third.
It is a different type
of thing.
Yes.
So that is something to keep in mind. But no, I had fun playing with this. I think the cards are, the artwork is really good. It's clever how they have the person on here with their name and their abilities, but then when you plug it in there, so that just says tiny, and that says Ranger because this is a Ranger card, and when you slot it in, then you have the tiny Ranger.
Now you have a tiny Ranger.
Yeah,
yes.
so that's always kind of cute, and artwork is really good. Enjoyed that. Super straightforward gameplay. I liked comboing the last time we played. Like, I had a guy that said trigger the person to the left of this. That said trigger one of my misfits, and I had a misfit that said trigger one of my beasts, and I had a beast that gave me a ton of coins. And so that's how I kept triggering that guy over and over and over again just to try to get all the money from him.
Right.
So yeah, that was fun to do those combos. But easy to teach. They have really good player aids. Hand me on player aids right quick,
Yes,
Tim.
sir.
But it's like Tim was saying, it's super straightforward. Not only does it give you a breakdown of all the icons and stuff are, on the other side it says on your turn, choose one. And it's got bullet points, this, or this. At the end of the turn, you can do this or this if you want. And then it has a breakdown of what the hearts, triangles, stars, and then the trophies for points and whatnot. So yeah, it's super smart. It's done really well, and then it keeps it fresh by swapping all those out at the end of each game. Not all, but a handful. It says 4, but you can do as many as you want. If you want to change up more of them, change up more of them, and then really change the game up. So
yeah, and I found that this played really well at both 2 and at 4 players.
Yeah,
I played it a few times at 2 players, and then at least one time at 4 players, and I felt like the game still moved along at a really good pace. And still felt very competitive.
Yeah, there's hardly not really any downtime. Even at 4
no,
players,
not much, because you're just pretty much spending your turn just
trying to out. Okay, I can pay for this, then I can pay for this one. Figure out where I want this guy to put here, this guy to put here. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes pretty quick. I think that 30 to 45 minute play time on the book is pretty accurate, even with teach. And then again, right, like the cards are all very straightforward for the most part. Reading the card explains the cards, which is idea. So good. Yeah. So good. This is a production or pre-production copy, so
pretty close to end.
Yeah, I don't know what will or if anything changes between this and the version you might see if you back this. But for the most part, the card sleeves are good quality. They did have extra ones in here. So if you needed them, right,
yeah,
if
is
they
good.
split.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
And something else that I will point out, so I'm colorblind, and there's 0 issues with any kind of colors on this. These are all very clearly water drops, versus the leaves. And then even on here, it has all those icons on them, so there's 0 issue with any kind of color. So
yeah, that's always...
Yeah, and the flags go different directions. Like the human ones, even though they're blue and red, which are pretty easy to tell apart, one swoops one way, one swoops the other way, so that keeps it...
Yeah, they are pretty straightforward. Yeah. And again, you do have the breakdown on here, and they even have that...
Human, beast,
sort of
and
swoop.
misfit. Yeah.
So you can tell there as well. So yeah, overall, really, really interesting, really fun, and lots of replayability and variety as you go. So if you like or are interested in sort of I don't want to say customizable card game because a
little bit. It's a tableau builder.
You're kind of customizing those cards, but you're doing that before and after you play.
Yeah, not during the game.
Right. And I kind of like that because I feel like if you're trying to swap out these overlays during the game, that could really grind everything to a halt.
Well, it might be interesting to have one person that says swap the inlay on 2 cards in your hand,
right,
just to kind of try to maximize something, but not as part of a whole thing you can do on your turn, but maybe 1 card ability.
Oh, sure.
Interesting, but still, I haven't seen it yet. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that either. But and we've gone through actually when we played, we went through that deck and we were discarding cards like crazy because I was trying to discard and get to them score multipliers to try to get some stuff that I could use.
And I had those 2 cards I was triggering. One was discard as many cards as I want for 5 coins, and then I had the other one that was draw cards until you have the most cards. And so I was discarding cards to get a bunch of money, and then I was drawing cards until I had the most.
Right. Yeah. So lots of stuff going on, and the combos feel good too. So, anything else you want to add on Misfit Heroes?
No, I don't think so.
This game's really short and sweet. I think it's pretty fun. Checks a lot of boxes. Does a lot of things that I like, and I had a good time with it. So hopefully this was helpful. Gives you some insight into if this is the game for you. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.